Dun, 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 dun. What is up, y'all? Philly Fly Show checking in, kicking in at Right Way Production Studios, and we are back. Had a crazy UFC fight night last week, mainly because of how that main event was supposed to happen, and then it didn't happen, and then just the craziness of all of just everything. It was pretty insane for us to come out the way we did. The Philly Fly Show went out of the 9 fights that actually went on. Philly Fly Show went 5-9. There was some pretty big upsets last week. So one of the keys looking into this week was I was like, man, who is actually going to upset in this? This week has got some crazy one-sided flipping odds. Like, I was actually really hard at picking, man. There's times I was looking at it, I'm like, man, I just feel like I'm just picking the favorites, but it's not just with the fight game, with any betting style, anything. Sometimes it's not just about picking an underdog or picking all the like, I've seen a card that I've actually called where almost all the favorites won besides one, and I'm pretty sure that was the one fight I got wrong on there, and that was the main event. So it happens. I'm not gonna sit and argue with it, and that's really it. Erin Blanchfield did the right thing by saying she's not gonna give Macy another shot at fighting her right now because there's no point. I get that because now Macy's probably gonna be out for a reasonably long time until she gets her health back in order, because you cannot just drop out of a main event like that. I know it. Health things can happen. It can be scary. The week before then, in the fight night, the co-main event, the same thing happened. So it's pretty shocking. Pretty shocking events. But we are not here for that. UFC pay-per-view 316, Merab Dvalishvili versus Sean O'Malley. If you don't know, if you didn't watch these guys fight the first time, well, Sean got humbled really bad. You can see it in his new performance and what he's doing. I just don't know if we don't know if that's going to turn into a win for him, or so we're going to see the same style fight where Sean's just not up to the level of Merab's grappling game. That's about where we're at with that. You get the co-main event of the evening for the bantamweight female division. That is a firefight. That is the reason it's a firefight, is because Juliana will stand there. She'll take a combo from you just so she can land another combo on you and add one to it. So pretty exciting co-main event. Going through this card, the beginning of it is all prospects, a bunch of UFC debuts, a bunch of guys who just, there's for sure 3 guys making their UFC debut. In looking at it, only one of them is a favorite, which is insane, and what his level of favoritism is by. When I start reading off these numbers for the betting guys, you're going to be like, what is going on? So we'll jump off into it. We got 13 match legs. Lego. All right, match leg number 13. We'll start. The first 2 fights are in the lightweight, the male lightweight division. So match leg number 13, Markel Meridos versus Mark Choniski. Now, Choniski is making his debut. He is the underdog at plus 175, whereas Meridos is a negative 210 favorite. Philly Fly Show is really on the side of Meridos on this one, on a leaning on a pretty big point. Jeez, sorry guys, my phone is not on silent. I am doing rookie mistakes here today, so I got that on silent, so we won't have to hear that. But Meridos just looks like his MMA skill set's going to be too much for Mark to make his debut against. Now, granted, when you're making your debut, you want to go against another guy who is a young guy like Meridos, or Madreos. Jeez. The reason that you want to take on another guy like Madreos is because he's only fought twice in the UFC, once on Dana White Contender Series, 2 UFC fights, but the level of skill they've given him, they gave him Sam Hubbard. He beat down Sam Hubbard. I did not think he could take on a fighter with that skill set, so I just think he's going to be a couple levels above Mark. But hey, this is the fight game; it could go any way. We're gonna the Philly Fly Show is gonna pick Markel Maderos. 3 out of 5 on the confidence level. He gets his hand raised after this fight. Like we said, we'll stay in the lightweight division. We get a fight between Quillen Salkadid versus Yanel Ashmus. Now, Ashmus is not a making his UFC debut, but he is coming in and fighting his a pretty big competition. Now, Quillen, if you didn't watch his first UFC fight, he got a 19-second knockout. I will say the ref stopped that one a tidbit early. Probably would have still got the same results that happened, but hey, sometimes that ref, you hit him with over the top, blew him down. Dude went for a single leg, and the ref called it as he was in the single leg. So you can look at it the way you want. I think it's a little early. I would have let him go a little longer in his last fight. But hey, this fight he gets against Yanel is going to be a banger. But again, Quillen is a negative 650 favorite, whereas Yanel is a plus 425. If you were to pick an underdog in this first beginning couple fights, this one I wouldn't argue against. I'm going to go with Quillen, the favorite, mainly because he's already shown what kind of power he's got at lightweight. So Yanal's going to have a handful to go through. 1 out of 5 on the confidence level that Quillen gets his hand raised after this fight. We'll jump to the featherweight male division. We got Jekka Sargan versus Jusang Yu. Now, Jusang is making his UFC debut. He is the favorite. This is a big favorite. On my sheet here, he is a negative 650. As I'm looking now, it's changed a little bit, so some money's coming in, flipping, flopping on these guys. So negative 650 on Ju Sang Yu, and Jeka is a plus 425 underdog. Featherweight fight. I'm going with the newcomer here. Any of his fights that I watched, you can see that he was miles ahead of any of his competition. So it will be nice to see him take on different competition in the UFC, which always happens. But Jacob, it's a tough fight for you. Even though you have had some UFC veterans and some fights behind you, I'm still going to go with Ju Sang Yu. 3 out of 5 on the confidence level. He gets his hand raised after the fight. All right, we go into the flyweight female division. This fight might not happen. Ariana De Silva versus Wang Kong. Wang Kong was a negative 650 favorite. Ariana was a plus 425 underdog. The reason why this fight might not go on is because Ariana missed weight by over 6 pounds. I know they said they have a catch weight, but typically when this happens, they'll get out of catch weight, see what the fighters are doing, seeing what they balloon up to. And if Ariana balloons up too much, they will not let Wei Kong fight her. So be on the lookout if you're putting that in a DFS, a daily fantasy. I would not put either of these girls in a daily fantasy. I would stay away from it, just in case they fall off. But if you obviously need to pick a winner here, because in case the fight happens still at a catch weight, Philly Fly Show is going to go with Wang Kong, negative 650. 3 out of 5 on the confidence level. She gets her hand raised. I don't have much to say about that fight after I found out that girl missed weight by 6 pounds. It's just, you cannot do that. Like, you cannot. I'm sorry. If you're coming in that hot, you gotta tell the UFC and get them to get a catch weight faster so the other person can balloon up as fast as you, and we can actually get those fights to happen. All right, match link number 9 is a welterweight fight between Chaos Williams and Andres Gustafsson. Now, Andreas is making his UFC debut. He is the underdog at plus 160. Chaos Williams, negative 190. We have seen Chaos come up short against guys, but as of late, he has learned how to slow his pace down, work at his gas tank. His gas tank has always been an issue for him in the octagon, but as of his last 3 fights, he's gotten a better control of it. I wouldn't say he gasses out himself before the second round like he usually does. Now he can get to a third round until you see that gas tank is limited. Yes, that will be hard for him in the future, but if he can learn how to keep getting better and better and better with this gas tank, he could be one of these elite welterweight fighters. He's got the power, he's got the striking, and he's got the psycho-ness to go in there and stand and bang. So it's just the gas tank. That's all the guy's got to work on, and I think that he's worked on it enough. We're even have taken up a guy on his UFC debut. He's 34 and making his debut. He's got a lot of hype behind him, but I don't think he's fought a guy like Chaos Williams. I think Chaos Williams gets a big, big win here. It wouldn't even surprise me if Chaos can get a finish here against a guy like this. So 1 out of 5 on the confidence that Chaos gets a win, but I'd risk it, guys. I'd risk a KO if you want to pick a single fight and get the odds up on the plus side. Woo-wee! Man, we're rolling here. We got match like number 8 coming up. It is a heavyweight fight. It is almost, well, it is the first fight where it's close odds. I guarantee you by now it's almost a pick'em. So it's a heavyweight fight between Sergey Spivak and Waldo Cortez Acosta. Now, every time I have doubted Waldo, he has shown me that I am not as smart as I think I am sometimes when I look at people's skill set. He comes in and looks like the shorter fighter, but he stands and bangs. He's got his heart into it. Spivak is a known wrestler, where Waldo's wrestling defense against his last fight, it was on display. So I'm going to look at the odds here, or tell you the odds what they are. Spivak was a negative 140 favorite, whereas Waldo Cortez Acosta is a plus 120 underdog. I'm going with the underdog here. Yeah, it's not much of an underdog, I get that, but that's because Waldo is doubted way too much, and I think he's got those hands behind that thing, and he will beat Spivak. I think he finishes Spivak personally. I don't think Spivak is as good as, I think he's got really good grappling, but standing up and striking and taking shots from people, not anymore, man. Not in that heavyweight division. Those dudes can knock you out. 1 out of 5, though, only on that Waldo Acosta gets his flipping hand raised. All right, match like number 7 is a light heavyweight bout. It is a decent fight. It's just on paper, the odds makers, they went a little steep for my end, but we'll display them here. It is Azmat. Let me make sure I got his freaking name right. Azmat Murkazanov versus Brenson Ribeiro. Now, Ribeiro is a plus 425 underdog, whereas Azmat is a negative 650 favorite. Those odds, I think, are a little closer than usual. But here's what I'm going to say with this fight, guys. Ribeiro is the younger fighter, but Azmat is the guy who's got the skill set. I think Ribeiro could beat him, but the problem is what is Azmat going to bring to him? Is he going to submit him? Is he going to ground and pound him out of there? What's going to happen? This fight is way different on the odds maker side than what I think. I'm going to say this. I don't usually say this on the Philly Fly Show, but this is a don't bet fight. I didn't put any of these guys on a DFS, and I'm not putting these guys down for any parlay or single bet. I don't even like the side of that plus 425 for Ribeiro, even though I could see him winning. I just don't like it. It's a stay away, don't bet fight. But here at the Philly Fly Show, we still make a pick. And we're gonna pick the pick. We're gonna go Azmat only because I think he ground and pounds him out of there. That's just what I see envisioning in my head. Only 1 out of 5 on the confidence level that Azmat gets his hand raised after that fight. So we go to the featured prelim bout of the evening. It is a flyweight fight. Usually flyweights do not get up in here in this featured prelim like this. But when you got a guy like Joshua Van, who now the UFC is pushing star-wise, he does have amazing boxing and amazing hands. Like probably he is in that top 5 of boxing for flyweights in the UFC. Now the guy he's fighting in Bruno Silva, he's not a slouch. He's not a bad fighter. It's just Bruno skill set doesn't outrank anybody, so he's got to work way harder to beat guys. So his big wins that he does have, he did outwork guys, but he's just not, his skill set's not going to, you're not going to look at him and be like, he's light years above everyone else like Pantoja. So that's the way I'm looking at it. Bruno is a plus 475 underdog. Joshua Van, negative 750. Those odds are escalating as we speak. Usually I'll go with the wrestler against a boxer, a guy who is more known as a grappler, I should say, not a wrestler. But yeah, I usually go with the grappler against a guy boxing, but Joshua Van has shown that he can defend takedowns. But not only can he defend takedowns, if he does get taken down, which he has, he's shown that he can get up and he knows how to get up, and he gets into those dirty boxing style fights at that point, and that's when you got to watch out for him because he stands and bangs. And Bruno's got a little bit of just a little bit of a glass jaw, just a tidbit. So I'm going to go with the boxer here and go with Joshua Van. 3 out of 5 on the confidence level. He can get his hands raised. And we are here to the main event, folks. Cannot wait. We're going to run through this one a little quickly here just because Philly Fly Show's at the 15-minute mark right now, and I'd like to keep this under 20 minutes for you, y'all. So, welterweight fight to start off the main card. Vicente Luque versus Big Mouth Kevin Holland. Great fight for both these guys. Dude, Vicente Luque went on a tear. Then he went on a stretch where he just doesn't look like he's got it anymore. And I was sad because I really was behind that guy. I thought he was going to be a top 5 competitor where he's competing for a title. Kevin Holland is a company man, a funny guy, one of the funniest guys in the UFC. So I also like to see him get a win, but I think this is going to be more of a stand and bang fight, to be honest with you. Kevin can grapple, and he's got worked on that a lot, and he's way better at welterweight, and he looks like a way different fighter at welterweight here, which is a welterweight fight. But Vicente Luque showed in his last fight that he still got it in the gas tank. He's ready to make another run toward the top 5. He's got to get through Kevin Holland first. Vicente Luque plus 230, Kevin Holland negative 280, which I thought was nuts that they gave Kevin as this big of a favorite. I would have gave him the favorite, but it would have been more like negative 140, 150. But yeah, so Philly Fly Show's going to go Vicente Luque here. Look, I just think Big Mouth has finally gotten to the point where I know he's training. I know he's trying to get back in there and not get out of the UFC, but when you got a guy like Vicente Luque, man, if he hits you, it's lights out time. Kevin Holland possesses that power too, but I haven't fully seen that at welterweight. I've more seen that at middleweight, so that's how we lean here. Philly Fly Show going to go with Vicente Luque, 1 out of 5 on the confidence level. He can get his hand raised. Bantamweight fight, male division next. Mario Bautista versus Patchy Mix. Now, Patchy is a negative 185 favorite. Mario Bautista plus 155. Dog, there are levels to all promotions. Patchy in Bellator, he had 3 good fights. 3 fights where I'll say the competitors were stiff. Problem is that was Bellator. And there's your answer. Bellator fighters, when they come to the UFC, granted, some have had a little success. Michael Chandler's first fight was successful, but he hasn't been fully successful after. And a lot of these guys, they're good competitors. They can beat some guys in the UFC on any given night, but against top elite guys, you're going to sit there and say, I'm looking through you, dude, at a flipping press conference. Light that fire, Mario. I know people call you a boring fighter. I do not think you're a boring fighter. I think you're one of the more top elite fighters that just know how to fight an MMA fight. And Patchy, you may have dominated other dudes from another promotion, but you are not going to dominate this UFC vet here. You're not going to dominate this top competitor, and you are going to learn that the UFC has levels. Let's go, Mario Bautista. 1 out of 5 on a confidence level here because, dude, it's not that Patchy doesn't have the skill set. It's just he thinks he's so far ahead of people. He's going to say he's looking through people. Nah, look through people, and you look through people, you usually get humbled real quick in the UFC. So let's see it, Mario, on Saturday. Let's go. Match leg number 3, middleweight fight. finally get to see this fight. It's been canceled once. It was upsetting when it was canceled. I feel like this was the co-main event that was canceled. I'd have to go back and look to remember that off the top of my head. I watch way too many fights and way too many things to remember all that off the top of my head. But middleweight fight, Kelvin Gastelum versus Joe Pyfer. Joe Pyfer, negative 380 favorite. Kelvin Gastelum, plus 290. Look, Kelvin back at middleweight's cool. It's great. I don't like that division for him personally. I really like welterweight for him, but it's hard for that man to get to welterweight, if you know what I mean. But Joe Pyfer showed me against Jack Hermanson that he can be turned into a more normal-looking fighter. I don't know if he had a bad camp, a bad weight cut, what happened there. It was like he had one part of his gas tank, and that was it. It was just a nasty fight after that. Here's the thing. Kelvin's a vet. Kelvin will take a shot, give a shot. But Kelvin is smart. And I feel like, knows that he can break Joe Pyfer down. I'm going to go with the vet here and Kelvin Gastelum just because when we've seen Joe take on a stiff competition guy in Jack Hermanson and Jack Hermanson beat him, I think Kelvin Gastelum can beat Jack Hermanson. Yeah, MMA math doesn't always work. But that's how we get these odds and these make our picks here. So we're going to go Kelvin Gastelum. 3 out of 5 on the confidence level. He can get it done against Joe Pyfer in that weak-ass gas tank. Ooh, we are here, folks. We're here to the title fights. We're over the limit here a little bit, so let's go. Female bantamweight title contention fight. Juliana Pena as champ versus Kayla Harrison. Putting on a title defense after her war with Raquel Pennington. Let's go. Juliana's a plus 500. Kayla Harrison, negative 800. Those odds are going to change like crazy no matter where you go because people are putting money on either one. I want to go with my girl Juliana Pena, but Kayla Harrison, there's something different with her. She might be technically one of those fighters from other promotions like we were talking about before with Patchy Mix that comes up and actually becomes a good champion. But we always knew Kayla could be, but she was just too big for any of the divisions in the UFC. We had a 145 division. That division was just absolutely god-awful dog water. We don't have a lightweight female division like PFL, which is where she competed, so that's why nobody thought she could get to the UFC and compete at 135. But that girl's made weight now her third time. I hope she can keep making 135 because I think she could be the future of the women's bantamweight division. But she's got to get through that dog, Juliana. And Juliana is a dog, and I would not sleep on Juliana. You want to put your money on Juliana for getting a finish or winning this fight? Go for it. I will put some side money on it with you. It's just that I think Kayla Harrison just dominates her. I think it gets wrestling, and Kayla just puts it on her, man. I see Kayla putting it on her. I don't see Juliana winning this fight, unfortunately. And we all love Juliana. Much love, Juliana. I love you, but can't do it. Can't do it. 1 out of 5 on the confidence level that Kayla gets her hand raised just because every time I doubt Juliana, she gets her damn hand raised. So let's go. Let's see it happen. I'll be glad to be wrong. I will gladly be wrong. My DFS won't like me because I got Kayla Harrison on it, which you will see posted on the Philly Flash Show's Twitter account after this is done. All right, we are here. We're here to the main event. Merab, the champ, Dvalishvili versus Sean O'Malley. Sean plus 230 underdog. Merab, negative 280 favorite. Dog. Man, if Sean can pull this off, I'd be happy. Merab's cringe for me, man. Just a little too cringe. But you gotta, as a guy who knows fights, knows fighters, watch a lot of fights, you gotta know when the other fighter's a better fighter than the other guy. Sean's got power and perfect striking, but he has not got any he's not good at the grappling part. Merab, in their last fight, even though in my eyes I saw like a 4-1 almost on the rounds, it was realistically 3-2 on 2 judges' scorecards, and Sean was 1 round away from winning that fight on 2 judges' scorecards. Take that as you will. I think that just shows that the fight was a little closer than what it looked like in our eyes when you replay it back. I didn't replay that fight back because I was a big Sean guy at that time and was on the hype train. And Sean's just got to show it to me. Man, he's got to show me that I'm wrong. And because I'm picking Merab Dvalishvili to get a flippin' good win here. You know, he said he's going to stand and bang with him. I don't see that happening. If Merab tries to stand and bang with Sean, it's a bad night for Merab. If Merab does what he did last time where he uses the grappling and the striking against the cage, he will win this fight. And that there's nothing to that. Sean cannot beat him in that type of fight. Sean's only chance is to land that lucky shot, put Merab down, and put him out. And that is how the Philly Fly Show is going to end it here, folks. It was a really, really long show. A lot to kind of talk about, a lot to go over because of last week and that weirdness with the health scare. All fighters coming in healthy and prepared. Besides, we might miss match leg number 10. Could be dropped off, so it could turn into a 12-leg matchup here. Fine with me. We're here. Philly Fly Show is going to be putting some money down, and we cannot wait to get back here. Shout out to Right Way Production Studios for always making this happen, and shout out to Lake Area Tick and Mosquito. You need your lawn sprayed for them pesky ticks and mosquitoes. Shout out Lake Area Tick and Mosquito in Minnesota. Peace the bleep out, y'all.